Hello guys, welcome back to your YouTube channel. So today we bring to you just on Suara. Yes, the first thing that comes to your mind is Super Story, the one and only Yemi Adeyemi, who played the amazing role of Suara in Super Story. The veteran actor disclosed to New Telegraph saying his first wife that he ever married, who lived in Ibadan at the time, believed he was having seedy underground dealings with actress and was filled with indignation. Although Suara explained to the Punch that he didn't have the intentions of marrying more than one wife, but there was a prophecy that says he was going to be a ladies' man, and yes, truly he is a ladies' man. Speaking to New Telegraph, he explained that his wife had the impression that he was having an affair with Sola Sobowale until Sola Sobowale came to her house to visit him and called him Egbomi. That was when the doubt of his first wife cleared completely. Sola Sobowale played the role of a wife in Old Father, Old Daughter Super Story, which was a popular TV show in the early 2000s. He said in his words, and I quote, "My wife was very angry with me. She thought I actually had an affair with Sola Sobowale, Twin Tomato. It was not until they got to know each other that she was convinced that I was going out with her. When Shola came, she was calling me Brother, which is what she used to call me. Actually, I came to Lagos through her advice. I didn't even know that we were going to act together in Super Story. My wife was so eager to meet her. So when Shola came to my house, they met. Annoyingly, my wife was sitting watching what was going to happen that day. But when she saw the way Shola was talking, calling me Brother, and she related with me. Later, my wife was convinced that there was nothing between us beyond acting our role in Super Story. She begged me later that she was sorry. I reminded her that was not the first time she had seen me acting with women." End quote. This was Suara explaining the encounter Sola Sobowale himself and his first wife had. Speaking of first wife, as I mentioned earlier, he didn't have intentions of marrying 3 wives. He said the best way to deal with a woman when a woman tells you what will you do is to find her a competitor. He said in his words, and I quote, "I believe that a man who marries just one wife is a stupid man. One thing I have come to realize is that if you marry more than one wife, you're a wise person." People would argue about this and I would answer them. I got married to my first wife in an African church. Somewhere along the line, our attitude and behaviors changed and it was disturbing my belief in God. I asked God if we are not meant to marry more than one wife, and I continued with this lady. Would I live long? I thank God for my home because recently I stepped out in the company of my wife, and when they saw themselves, they embraced each other. The pastor had to come and ask me how I achieved it. My belief is that when a woman challenges a man and asks him, "What would you do?" the man should not flex his muscle. All you need to do is get someone that will contest with the woman, a competitor, and she would sit down. Do not use a divide and rule approach, because if the woman cannot attack you directly, she would use the children, and the man is always at loss since all the children belongs to the woman. God just gave me this intuition, and that is the method I have been adopting. None of my 8 children can live without themselves. It may interest you to know that the mother of Suara was a staunch Christian and the father was an herbalist, but he is a practicing Christian and also a naturalist. Explained why he followed his mother's path and not his father's path. He said in his words, and I quote, "A wife would have an edge over her husband when it comes to matters of spirituality, and that is why a man needs to listen and search for a woman that is pure. My mother did not go against my decision to practice traditional religion. The truth is that she had an edge over my father to such an extent that he used to take him to church every Sunday. Being that I am a very good drummer, I soon became the church lead drummer, and that was what spurred my interest in the Christian religion." Further explained that these two cannot contradict themselves. He said it will not contradict anything. There is difference between religion and culture. In the same way there is difference between ambition and intention. I do not have a problem, but I have faced challenges in life. He was also asked a question if he was a Casanova during his time. He said, and I quote, "Somebody who womanizes or is randy is usually careless. He would not care much about life. I have my own weaknesses too, especially when it comes to religion. For instance, I'm a practicing Christian, but I am also a naturalist. My father was very good in herbal medicine and he was a seer. When my father died, his herbalist bag, which the Yoruba call the Ijapa, was given to me. My mother was a staunch member of the Cherubim and Seraphim, and to be a member of that church, you need to be very spiritual. I believe in the will of God because it is only his own way that would suffice. He explained further that his father never wanted him to be an actor as he considered them as beggars. But eventually, when he went home with his car and showed his father where he lives, that was when his father realized that he was treading on a good path. He said, and I quote, "My father wanted me to be a policeman because of their daily routine, but I loved drumming. We used to have a teacher who taught us home lesson, and the only reason I always attended the home lesson was because of entertainment. If we had a drama in December, we would have begun rehearsal since January. When I had my first stage performance, I did so well that people told me I was a genius on stage. They all appreciated me, but my father was very angry with me. His maternal grandfather was the Aromolaron of Elisha. My father vowed that none of his children would become a beggar, or that was what he called entertainers. He knew that I loved drumming, but he refused to allow me to follow my passion. The ironic thing is that he was the one that made me fall in love with drumming, because every Sunday, drummers would come to our house to beat the drums for him, and he would interpret what the talking drum said to me. Later, he said he did not want me to become a drummer. Shortly after I finished from University of Ile-Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, and began to work at NTA, I was given a car. I went to my father's house and he was the first person to enter my car. He asked where I got the vehicle from, and I told him that it was from doing drama. I made him sit at the back of my car and he was almost prostrating to me, asking me to forgive him. I explained to him that it was a very lucrative career, especially if one went to university to study it. It made him realize that as I left the university, I was on the level 8 step 2 and I was given a car. I took him to my apartment as well at GRA Agodi Ibadan. When he saw the way the apartment was furnished, he was overwhelmed. He was very happy. When he saw my picture with Wole Soyinka, he shouted and asked me about my relationship with the professor. Then I told him that Soyinka was our head of department. He asked again if acting was lucrative, and I answered him affirmatively. From that day, he became my friend. My father would come to pay me a visit on a Friday and would not leave my house till Sunday. All the other siblings were envious, but I did not mind. End quote. This was Suara explaining details his ordeal with his father when he refused him to be an actor. Well, back to the gist I brought us today, which is Suara explaining how his relationship with Sola Sobowale made his wife suspect him. Well, guys, there you have it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section below. Thank you. Bye.